All right. Hi, my name is Emily Falcone, and I'm going to be playing the therapist first.
And my name is Valerie Stovall, and I am going to be playing the client who is a teenager who has suffered from narcissistic abuse from her parent.
So the client is coming in today presenting with some emotional outbursts, but in large part, mostly having a lot of conflict about relationships and identity development. And so we're going to talk about the effects of complex trauma and how having a narcissistic parent might be affecting that. All right. Oh, hi. It's nice to see you in again. How you been feeling? Okay.
Hi.
Yeah.
No.
Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on?
Well, I'm in high school and it's sports tryouts, and I really want to play basketball.
Yeah.
But my mom wants me to be a cheerleader because I'm a girl and that's what girls are supposed to do. But I'm excited to play basketball because that's what I like to do and that's what all my friends are. And I feel like if I don't be the cheerleader, my mom's going to be disappointed. She's going to take stuff from me. She's not going to keep her promises. And then my friends are going to, my friends are not going to, want to talk to me because we're all like, want to be together on a basketball team. So now I'm going to lose my friends. I'm going to lose the promises. I don't know what to do. I'm depressed.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of pressure on one young person. Well, so you remember how last time we talked about what trauma was? Remember we talked about trauma is something, an experience that feels like you're in danger. You don't necessarily have to be like your life's threatened, but it just feels not safe. Remember we talked about that?
I don't feel safe to be myself. Like every time I want to do something, I feel like I have to question it because my mom's not going to like it. And I just feel like even at 15, that's just not right.
Yeah, that is. I really hear what you're saying. It feels like a lot of pressure to be somebody who you don't think that you are. Yeah. Well, so we talked about trauma before, but I want to talk to you about a different kind of trauma that might have something to do with how you're feeling right now. And so I'll tell you what it is first. So what it is, there's something called complex trauma. And it sounds sort of a little silly just to say like, oh, it's complex. Well, it's complex, but let's break it down so it doesn't sound as complex, even though that's what we're going to define it as. So what therapists will call complex trauma is a lot of different trauma responses that are a result of lots of repeated and ongoing trauma that you can't really get away from. So, for instance, I know we've talked about how you and your mom really don't get along very well, and you feel like sometimes she's really not listening to you, and you feel like there have been lots of instances where you've needed things from her that she just doesn't give you. Remember we've talked about that?
Well, I feel like me and my mom, we get along when I do what she wants. When I want to do what I want, that's when the problem happens. And we argue. She says horrible things to me. I'm an embarrassment to her if I do what I want to do. Young teenage girl shouldn't want to do this and that. Like, we get along as long as I'm doing what she wants me to do, but I'm not happy.
Yeah. Well, and what I hear when you say that is a lot of hurt and pain. And so when we talk about complex trauma, what we're talking about is that stuff for you happens over and over again and has been happening a really long time. And she's your mom, and so you have to stay with her. She's supposed to be your caregiver. That's the role that she's taken on, and sometimes we still need those people. So when we are going to talk about sort of what might be happening, the things that you're struggling with, sometimes there's a chance that those are directly related to some of what the complex trauma experiences have been. So you know how when you're trying to get to know people and it just, you're not sure about them, that might possibly be a result of always feeling like you're being questioned and that you don't get to decide your own things. When you meet a new friend and you're not quite sure, and it takes a long time to feel like maybe you can trust them, and then maybe you're not really quite ready to trust them for a long time. And like sometimes we talked about when we like really question what our friends say to us sometimes, and we're not sure that we believe them.
Yeah.
That might be a part of the trauma stuff. There's a couple more things I want to talk about too, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, sometimes with my friends, I'm scared to even introduce them to my mom. Like I'll depending on I trust them because they accept me for me. I feel like I can only be me around my friends. But then when it comes to introducing them to my mother, she hates everyone I'm friends with.
Yeah, that must be really sad to have one person that you really love and another person that you really love not get to get along.
Yeah, so I just, want to figure out a way where I can at least explore what I want to do and be okay with not, I guess, having my mom support and still having a relationship with her. Like, that's where I'm at right now.
I see. That might be something we'll be able to get to. So remember, we talked a little bit about the ways that sometimes when we have really big feelings, like the feelings you can have when you fight with mom, or feelings that you can have when you feel like you've disappointed someone, those really big, overwhelming feelings. So we talked a little bit about how those big feelings, and we're sort of learning how to retrain our brains. Remember we talked about like how people play games to retrain their brain, stuff like that. Same thing's happening here, where you're getting to learn how to retrain your brain, which is kind of a really cool process because humans are really cool and can do some really cool stuff. Like we can change how our brains work, which is really kind of cool. Yeah, you can change how your brains work. So
sounds cool.
Yeah, so what we're going to focus on a little bit, just so that you know going forward, we're going to focus on getting your brain and your body on the same playing field, and all of those small things that cause you stress that maybe feel like they can they almost feel like they blow up. Do you know what I mean when that happens? That maybe that might be because where your body and your brain is already up here, and you only need one little bit to get to the top. But what we're going to start to do is take from up here, where our stress level is right here, in our brains and our bodies, that doesn't have anything to do with what's really necessarily going on right now. And maybe we'll just start to lower it a little bit, lower it a little bit more, so that when something does pile up, you don't go right to the top right away. Does that make sense? So when you guys get to talk, when you get to talk with mom about, I really don't think that being a cheerleader is the right thing for me, I want to make you proud in a different way. Then maybe that's a different discussion that you can have. And maybe you can feel different in that discussion.
Yeah, I can try that, because if I was to go home and do that right now, I wouldn't feel very cool about it. So doing something that helps me feel better about it would probably actually help me have a conversation. I just, want her to be proud of me for being me. So
I want that too. So we're going to work together to focus on, we're going to focus on a couple different things. We're going to focus on lowering that initial stress level in your brain and body, getting essentially your nervous system down to a lower baseline. We can focus on learning ways to react when we do have those really big emotions, some new different ways. And then we're going to focus on maybe what it's like to interact with people and feel safe.
Yeah, okay. I like that.
So sound like good plans? And you get to tell me anytime that you want to say, you know what, I think I need to be done with this. I think we need to take some time. I don't want to do this right now. You always get to choose that, just like in any of our other sessions.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. So we're going to start slow. You tell me where you want to start. I can write out the options if it's more helpful like that.
Yeah, having written out will be helpful. I just want to be in a place where I can even feel confident talking to my mom about what I want and being okay with her not agreeing with it.
Okay.
That's where I want to be. Like right now, I'm afraid if I kind of tell her what I want to do, she's going to dismiss me. And then that's going to, you know, it's more so of the response that I can't handle. If I feel like I can get to a place where I'm prepared and I can handle her response, I'll be able to have that conversation. Just tell like cheerleading is not for me.
Okay. Well, that's you've set a really solid goal, and we can put that in our plan for what we're working towards. Okay. All right, good. Yeah. We have a plan. I'm going to take a pause, and I'll write down those things for you. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So that concludes that. You want to move into our reverse?
Yep, our reverse.
All right,
okay, so go. That was the first half of our presentation. The second half of the presentation, I will be playing the therapist to Emily. Emily is an adult who actually suffers from narcissistic abuse and is coming into therapy because she has some difficulty maintaining stable relationships, more specifically romantic ones. Typically, her relationships are 3 months and they follow the same pattern. And initially when she came into therapy, it was maybe the guys aren't right for me. But as her therapist, I started seeing some things that was going on with her that was possibly from her childhood as to why she can't connect and relate to someone. So that's where we're going to go in this session with Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm okay. I'm feeling a little disappointed.
Why?
Well, I feel like every single time that I think that I'm dating somebody I can keep, we just go back to the same place of I don't trust you and I never will because just no one is worth trusting. I just can't do it.
So during our last session, and I know that's difficult for you. I'm assuming on our last session you took the advice to try and go out on that date, and I guess it did not work out. I'm really sorry. So after the date, did you consider what we discussed, really assessing how you were feeling after the date was over, like certain things that was going on and your reasoning of why these guys aren't right for you? Did you sit down and kind of assess how you're feeling and see if there's anything going on there?
I just feel both really anxious and really sad.
Is it because these guys aren't for you, or is it because you don't have the relationship?
I just feel like we just cannot connect. And I'm trying to find something to hold on to and connect with them, and I just don't see it.
And what is your reasons that you think you cannot connect with these guys specifically?
I think mostly it's just when I try to talk to them, I feel like one thing isn't right. Like just they say something and I start to question them, and then you know they pull away. They pull away, and I don't want them to pull away. I'm not pushing them away. I don't think I am. But they just I can't seem to reach them.
You sound very frustrated. You look very, very tense, very tense. And I see that. And I've been seeing that. And after making a suggestion of you go out on a couple of dates, I'm going to explain. I didn't want to explain it to you initially, but after several dates, I want to explain a concept to you called complex trauma. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
I mean, I know what trauma is, but not complex. What does that mean?
Complex trauma is kind of like a spinoff of regular trauma. You know, trauma is something really, really terrible that happens to us. And for the most part, we kind of get over it. It's a one-time thing. complex trauma is more like something that you're exposed to that's been going on forever. Like you're an adult, you're 28 now. You have been having this pattern since as a child, I would assume, right?
Yeah, I don't really make friends very easily, or keep them at least. So, yeah, I guess so.
Right. So I remember we talked about it in our last session. When I look at how you had difficulty maintaining friendships, and now in your adult life, difficulty maintaining romantic relationships, I really think that it stems with the relationship that you've had with your mother. The things that you described to me about how these guys are, you don't trust them and you always question them. Aren't those the same type of things that you would do with your mom when you were younger?
I mean, sometimes, yeah. She just would say things that didn't always make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I would ask for more information, and she would just say, "No, that's how it is," or that maybe I was just thinking crazy, silly things, and that she knows better than me. Yeah, I guess it kind of is the same.
Feel?
Sometimes kind of crazy, and often really sad.
Now, do you feel those same ways again with these guys you date? Do you feel crazy and like sad like that too, or something very similar?
Yeah, but not as much crazy as I feel anxious, but the sad is definitely the same.
The possibility here with complex trauma being something that's a prolonged experience is subconsciously, which means the area of our brains that we kind of don't have control over. It's the automatic response. You're replaying relationships that you're getting in with these guys in the same way that your relationship is with your mom. That's sort of the type of thing that I see when I hear you talk about how your mom makes you feel versus how the guys make you feel. Very similar. And then we see that a lot with complex trauma and children of narcissistic parents that grow up to be adults. Maintaining relationships is quite difficult for them because the one relationship that they needed as the example wasn't there. So now you're trying to figure it out as an adult. But I want to give you an activity that can help you maybe do that. Do you understand what I mean when I say complex trauma? Does it make sense?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. But I do want to know, it's so when my interactions are the same as they were before with these new people?
I mean,
similar?
It seems like it because the issue that I'm seeing is the inability to maintain a stable relationship. As an adult, it's more romantic relationships. And I was asking if you thought it was, what did you think about maybe it's because you're trying to replace the relationship that you were supposed to have, you know, with your mom, this ongoing relationship of trying to please her and questioning yourself and making sure that you're right. It's an ongoing process, and now you're doing that with the men that you date.
Well, when you say it like that, yeah, I do sort of see what you mean.
Does that help you understand complex trauma a little bit?
Yeah, I think so.
So with your understanding, what would be a goal that you want to set for yourself?
I want to be able to trust people, but also I want to be able to trust myself.
Okay. So I'm going to give you an activity as part of a therapy called cognitive behavior therapy. And the reason why I feel like it may be beneficial to you is because it's an ongoing type of therapy, just like the trauma you suffer is ongoing. I just want you to challenge how you're thinking after these experiences with these relationships. I want you to challenge how you're thinking and then think about how you want to think. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like, if you want to, I can write you out a ABC chart. And on the ABC chart, basically the A stands for clinical word, and the C, basically the event that triggers the automatic thought, which is B. And then C will be your consequence. How do you feel after? And I want you to chart that for 2 weeks and see if you can see a pattern within yourself.
Okay. I think I can do that.
Do you think you want to try a week then?
Yeah, that sounds more manageable. If I can do it for a week and see what let's try that.
Okay, because I know you said your goal is to trust yourself, and the chart will help you track what your automatic thoughts are, and then you'll be able to challenge why they're there, and then you'll have the power to change them, and then hopefully work on to trusting those thoughts and using them to guide your decisions.
Okay.
I'm so sorry that you've had that experience with your mom. I'm so sorry it's affecting you still at this point in your life, but there is hope.
Thank you. It's good to hear that sometimes when it doesn't always feel like it.
There is hope, and I can see that you're on the fence because it's been going on for so long, which is why this is complex trauma. But there is hope. So we'll pace it and we'll chart for a week, and then in a week we'll come back and see how we do.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And that concludes our complex trauma explanation video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right. So you know how to stop it?